Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here in studio with Robert Paredes, Fluxx Funding. We're going to talk real estate, mortgage credit here coming up here. Also, interesting story. San Francisco leads the nation in share of homeowners that are selling at a loss. Interesting coming out. I wonder if it could be tied to the crime out there. It's interesting. We'll see. Also, the NAR case. I want to talk about that. The National Association of Realtors. They are involved in a national struggle here. RE/MAX has paid a settlement. We'll dive deep into that here coming up in just a minute. Before we do, a couple of hot listings and a quick shout out to one of our sponsors here, Heights Soft Wash, pressure wash company here in Tampa Bay. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties, commercial, residential. Reach out to heightsoftwash.com. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. A couple of hot listings here. 11722 County Road 672. We've got a nice listing. This is a single-family home. Could be seen as a commercial opportunity as well because it's a farm as well. You've got palm trees, citrus trees at 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. Fully equipped farm, 19.73 acres, 40-foot by 100-foot warehouse. Beautiful single-family home as well. Great opportunity, commercial property. One of our 60 listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We've got a lot of listings, vacant land, commercial, residential properties available as well. 2817 Gulf City Road, vacant land. Little Manatee River, 23 acres. Build, the opportunities are endless there. Apartments, condos. Maybe some type of an industrial. You'd have to contact the county, of course, but 23 acres on the Little Manatee River, Gulf access, bay access to the Gulf of Mexico, waterfront, 23 acres. Reach out to the show or check us out at platinumcoastalelite.com.
Buy dirt, find one you can't live without.
All right. Robert Paredes back in studio.
Hey, Brandon, how are you, man?
I'm doing
Glad
well,
to be back.
my friend. Doing well, blessed and highly favored. And praying for peace in the Middle East, as I think most people are. But, man, tough times out there. There's a lot of geopolitical stuff. We like to focus our talks on real estate, mortgage, what's affecting consumers. But let's jump right into it. San Francisco, what an interesting story, man. How did that story read? Leads the nation in share of homeowners selling at a loss.
I mean, is that really a surprise to you?
No. That's got to be the number
really
one.
isn't.
I mean, it's number one in a lot of different areas. And it's crime, it's homelessness.
Yeah, and you know what? I was talking to somebody about this the other day. San Francisco used to be one of my favorite cities, and I've traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
And now it's just horrible. It's horrible. Man. It's not what you knew from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah. You have politicians like Pelosi there, and those types of people. Significant majority of U.S. home sellers continue to sell their properties for a profit, but various factors across the increase in the number of sellers who are losing money on these transactions. San Francisco, prime example. 8 homes, 12.3% sold. Anyways, pretty crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. So not in Florida though, especially in the Tampa Bay market. It's still a hot market, believe it or not.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, man. We got low inventory coupled. You still have this low inventory, and you have of course rising interest rates. Hopefully, the Fed will stop, continuing to rise. I've got a screenshot here from. Home sales slide to lowest pace since 2010 as high rate squeeze market. That's the Wall Street Journal. And then I like Lawrence Yun. It seems like he's on point a lot of times. He's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors.
Right.
He's saying further higher mortgage rates mean even lower home sales. Lowest existing home sales since 2010 during the Great Recession with 8 million job losses and massive home foreclosures. Today there are job additions at historic low mortgage default and historic low foreclosure rate. Home prices rising because of limited inventory, unable to satisfy demand.
Yeah, because lending, let's say in 2005, 6, and 7 before the financial crisis, it's not like to where you can have a 550 credit score with no money down. That doesn't exist anymore. So It's still pretty robust. You don't want easy lending, but you don't want those credit those rates to go high as well. But I'm telling a lot of buyers, and they're now listening to me, is that the rates might be higher, but I tell you what, you're not competing with 20 other buyers and paying $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 over listing. So get in now. You're going to refinance in a year anyway.
Yeah. Refinance when the rates drop. You're able to at that point, lock that in. And if people do that with you, do they get some kind of a benefit of not having to pay certain fees when they come back to you if they purchase?
Yeah, I give a pretty deep discount. The reason for that is because since they're a repeat customer, especially on a refinance, that's really easy to do.
Yeah.
It takes me 2 seconds to work on a file, so I give some really good rates and some discounted closing costs as well.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're able to help people, and that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I got a clip I want to play about inflation. This was kind of interesting. It was one of the latest podcasts I listened to talking about inflation.
Where does inflation stand right now? Can you go over some of the recent numbers?
Yeah, so inflation has come down. Let's be fair. Inflation has come down, right? It spiked to a high of 9.4% about a year ago. It has been steadily coming down. But the fact is that inflation still exists. So prices continue to go up just at a slower pace, right? There's a difference between deflation and disinflation. Deflation is when they actually start to go negative. We haven't gotten there. Disinflation is when the pace of price increases just starts to slow, which is where we are now. I think the latest CPI number was 3.7%, which was a tad bit higher than what they had expected, which again is not good because that just suggests that inflation is starting to rear its ugly head again and could potentially start to push its way higher.
Now, paradoxically, or maybe not, retail sales actually ticked up in September. So Americans are still shopping. There was also a hiring surge in August. Those are some of the indicators I know Wall Street types like to look at. What do those indicators tell you?
So it's very interesting. Let's talk about the hiring surge. You know, we were expecting 150,000 new jobs on the first Friday when they report that number. In fact, it came out at 350. Do you realize that 150 jobs were part-time jobs?
So that's the kicker. A lot of these jobs are not full-paying jobs. They're part-time jobs, just like we saw when Obamacare came out, right?
Well, that was the same thing as to where people were actually just sitting around collecting a check or whatever. They said, well, I think I probably need to start getting a job.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's exactly right. It was double than what we thought, but it's how you actually message that out. And so, of course, you saw the short-term interest rates, at least in the Treasury, go up as well. So, and it didn't help at all. I was listening to Chairman Powell at 12 o'clock on his speech today. It looks like they're going to hold off in November, but he always goes to it's data dependent. So we can't even predict anymore what he's going to do. So,
data dependent, come on.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on that. A lot of Americans are working 2 jobs, or a full-time job and a side job or a side gig. They're driving delivery for these delivery services with food and groceries. People are working overtime to survive in this Biden economy.
Completely agree. November 2024 can't come fast enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. We're talking with Robert Paredes here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Fluxx Funding is the name of his company. He's a longtime friend of the program, mortgage expert contributor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Robert, what do we need to know? What do people need to know right now? Give us some timely advice.
Well, if you're a buyer, like I said earlier, is that it's really important that you, again, today's it's the right time to buy is now, and the rates are a little bit higher and so on. But again, you're not competing with, with 4 or 5 or 10 different other folks who are trying to bid on the same property. And paying $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 above asking price as well. So the idea is get in now. Yeah, the payments are going to be a little higher, but you're going to be refinancing within a year or less anyway.
Yeah.
And you're not competing with anyone else.
Yeah.
The rates are the rate. I'm a firm believer. Whatever you can control, just let it go.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's better than paying rent.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly. That's a rent versus own. We always offer that rent versus own analysis. Speaking of rents, here's something that was interesting too. Rent delinquencies peak among small businesses in September.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. The reason for that is that people are still spending. To that clip that you just said, people are still spending, and there's a lot of credit card debt out there as well. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I used to be able to predict it, man. Not anymore. So.
Yeah, there's so many different paradoxes in the way that things are shaken out. But I think if you look at small businesses are hurting. Small businesses aren't getting the favorable handouts and preferential treatment that the federal government allows.
Right, and then a small business is the one that drives the good jobs. Right, that's what it is. Most of the jobs come from the small businesses, and if you hinder them, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So-
And our current regime in Empower, they don't want to empower the small businesses. They want to
Right.
put their thumb on them, and everything from people's $600 Venmo accounts.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you're going after people that are making pennies compared to some of the bigger players out there, the Sam Bankman-Frieds and these types of people that get off for what they've done.
Right.
But yeah, tell me a little bit about too. You had mentioned too that the conventional and VA max prices are going up.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, come January 2024, the maximum loan amount for a conventional VA is going up from $726,000 to $750,000 for the Tampa Bay market.
Okay.
As well. So because you're seeing prices go up as well, and to your point, if you're seeing prices go up, then you really want to go ahead and buy now, because you're actually going to be
Right.
building equity by the time you're refinancing a year anyway.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to do that.
Yep.
And they're changing those guidelines in a sense where they're going to allow for this appreciation,
Correct.
and so that's where it went from 726 to 750. And Tampa Bay is such a unique market, man. It's such a great place to live, work, and play. We have low crime. We have a lot of positive reasons to be here. It's just such an awesome area, vibrant area. I mean,
Right.
there's so many things to do here. So I think
Exactly.
people are still attracted. And then, of course, taking it out further, the state of Florida. We have a lot of, a great governor in the state of Florida here, keeping us free, allowing us to, travel, and pushing back against a lot of these different mandates that the federal government's trying to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Florida is wide open for business and everything. I'm seeing a lot of money coming into Tampa as well, especially in Tampa.
Yeah.
And we love the governor.
That's right. Doing a
What are
great
you gonna
job.
do?
He's doing a great job
Yeah,
up there.
he's doing a good job.
Talk to me about what are you seeing on insurances as well? The storms come through.
Yeah,
Storms affect things.
Yeah, it's a timely discussion now because we're probably at the end of the hurricane season. But what typically happens is that when a lender such as myself, when we see a tropical storm that's brewing out in the Gulf and it's coming to Tampa, it's very important that we try to bind that insurance, because once you bind it, you can close on a deal. But if you haven't, and it goes through Tampa, and then all of a sudden FEMA says, hey, Pasco or Hernando or Pinellas County is a disaster area, they flag it as a disaster area, you can't close on a house, you can't get any insurance or anything. So you kind of have to wait until it's over.
Yeah.
And so that puts a damper on closing dates and so on. So
Yeah. I always advise clients also on these situations where they say, oh, well, we can't really move until this date, so we might want to wait to sell till that date, especially during hurricane season.
Right.
I say, look, let's get the house on the market, under contract, close, and then we do a lease back.
Correct.
We do a lease back from the new owner, and we negotiate that all up front. That's all up front. But these are strategies that sometimes, the average real estate agent is not going to understand.
You're absolutely
They're just going to flow with it. Another thing that comes up this time of year is the holidays.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I don't want to list during the holidays. I'm not going to put my home on why would I do it during holidays? Well, because a lot of people have that same mindset, that same mentality of, let's just wait till January.
Right.
So what happens in January?
Yeah. Well, prices go down.
Yeah, and then you have all these other people putting their home on the market. So
Exactly right. Exactly.
So you have the competition. So you're waiting for more competition just because you don't want to be inconvenienced during the holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make as much sense. Plus, if you look on the buy side, buyers need to get deals done at the end of the year.
Correct.
So this is how I coach my team. Is look, you want to create urgency when you're in sales, right? Yeah. So look, if you want to get the most amount of your dollar and stretch that dollar, let's look at what people are buying for before December 31.
Correct.
Tax purposes, job transfers, school transfers, and a list of other reasons why they're going to sell.
And that's the same thing when it comes to loan officers. The folks who I've known for a long time, for 25 years being in the business, they have this mentality, well, everything slows down in November and December. Well,
right.
That's completely opposite of me. November, December are actually my busiest months.
Right. We've had similar experience. Exactly.
Yeah. You just got to know how to sell it correctly.
Yeah, exactly. You know how to sell it, and you got to create that urgency and create the life you want, create the business. You got to make it happen. We're going to take a quick break there. More with Robert Paredes, Fluxx Funding. We're going to talk about this huge elephant in the room, this NAR case, the National Association of Realtors. It's called the Burnett trial. But we're going to give you an update. It's could be game changing for realtors. I I mean, it could take a while, but I mean, it could literally be the end of the MLS system. It could be the end of real estate agents in the way that we know them now. It's really interesting, and to me, it's a big overstep by government and regulation. Another way that they're cracking down on an existing industry that needs to be left alone. More with Robert Paredes here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. They offer the very best nationwide coverage on 4G and 5G LTE networks and exceptional 100% US-based customer support. Patriot Mobile offers discounts for veterans and first responders, NRA members, and families with multiple lines. Learn more at patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. That's patriotmobile.com/consumer QB. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach out at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. And we'd be happy to tell you more about Patriot Mobile. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Quick shout out to Discovery Golf Cars, longtime friends of the program. If you are considering a golf car, let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Find them online, discoverygolfcars.com. Longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. They've got the Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman, new and used, online at discoverygolfcars.com. We're in studio here with Robert Paredes of Fluxx Funding, mortgage expert contributor. We're going to jump into this case, this NAR case, this Burnett trial, and about that as well. But before we do, a couple of hot listings here on the show. We like to feature our listings as a strategy to help sellers sell faster for more money. And we've got a motivated seller here at 3864 50th Avenue South, St. Petersburg, Florida. Great opportunity to own a remodeled property, 3-bedroom, 2-car garage, 2-bathroom, that is, 1659 square feet, fully remodeled. I love the color scheme here, too. It's a lighter color. People are digging that. It has an island in the kitchen, updated appliances, beautiful opportunity, small backyard fenced in, got a lanai in the backyard as well. 3864 50th Avenue South, St. Petersburg, Florida. And you can see all of our listings at platinumcoastalelite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Robert. So a lot of talk in this, the real estate industry about this NAR case. A lot of people don't really have a handle on it. I'll do a quick summarization here, and then we'll just comment on it. But it's called the Burnett trial. There was testimony, both sides. Plaintiffs presented recorded depositions, etc., who discussed NAR and MLS guidance, including what they call the Clear Cooperation Policy, otherwise known as the CCP. Not the good folks over there on the other side of the planet coming after our country. And I say that facetiously, obviously. But the Clear Cooperation Policy ensures brokers and agents serve the best interest of consumers and promote equal opportunity for all. The Clear Cooperation Policy advances equal access and opportunity in housing by ensuring listings are widely available and accessible to consumers, and requires MLS participants to submit their listings within 1 day of taking the listing of the MLS marketing. to the public. Without that, consumers would be at a disadvantage because they couldn't, they could refuse to give access, or they could say, "Hey, I got a pocket listing, Mr. Investor Friend Buyer," or they could say, "Hey, all of our agents at XYZ company, we put them into a Facebook group, and then we only sell to our Facebook group," right?
Well, that's the thing, is that you're actually eliminating competition.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. That might even go all the way up to the Supreme Court, you think, or not?
Possible, yeah. I just was messaging one of my attorneys. I want to get his comment on it. But the CCP, the Clear Cooperation Policy, is especially important for competitive markets where properties sell extremely fast. There you go. A year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, and
you had multiple offers on these properties.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that it's working just fine for so many years and everything, and then three people now decide that, well, you know what, let's monetize it and let's make it a thing to where everybody agrees on, which is not the case at all.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see how this case has any legs, but I haven't analyzed it fully, and of course, I'm not an attorney, but to me, it's capitalism. It's free market. So you have a listing, you put it on the MLS. The buyer side is offered a fair compensation. And if you don't like being a buyer agent and you don't like the 2.5% or
then
whatever it is, then become a better agent or a listing agent and go out and get listings.
Yeah, exactly right.
But to me, this is completely ridiculous, and it is. It's basically like a Marxism almost. It's a Marxism type of strategy where anything existing in the West, we got to go after it.
Right.
The nuclear family, go after it. You name it, they're going after it, right? They call it colonialism. But the last paragraph here says the CCP was enacted in response to concerns about confusion in the marketplace and about the availability of properties, often to the disadvantage of both home buyers and sellers. I don't understand that. Brokers and local MLS broker participants across the country asked NAR to consider a policy reinforcing pro-consumer, pro-benefits of listing a property in the local MLS. So, yeah, it's an interesting place. We'll see where that plays out. But I thought a couple years ago it came out as well, and it was kind of smacked down.
It got quashed. Yeah, it got quashed pretty quickly.
In Chicago, I think is where that one came out. But I guess allegedly RE/MAX has paid a settlement already, and those are things I don't like to see, because once you start paying settlements, it's like almost you're admitting guilt in a sense.
Exactly. But let's talk about something good.
Let's
do
that.
Okay.
There we go.
So actually, I've got a new loan program out, especially for first-time home buyers. You can put as little as 1% down. Now, obviously, I have to say my NMLS number 437134, right?
There you go.
It depends on your credit, on your income, and so forth. But the biggest misconception, especially with first-time home buyers and who are renting, you have to put 20% down, have an 800 credit score, and that's just not the case. So if you want more information about that 1% down, we have it available as well.
I love that. Is it an average credit score on that?
The average credit score, it's a conventional loan, so anything above a 660, 680 will do
bad.
it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Talk to me about credit, because there's a lot of misconceptions around credit too, man. What are you seeing as far as credit goes?
What would you like to know? I can talk about it for 10 hours about that.
Just some of the misconceptions.
Yeah, sure. Like for instance, when you're trying to buy a mortgage, you think that you have to have excellent credit. That's not the case. Since I'm a mortgage broker, I have loan programs to where if you have a little bit of challenge credit, but you've got some down payment, you can get a pretty decent loan amount as well, and a rate as well. You can go FHA, believe it or not, with a 500 credit score if you put enough money down.
Wow. Yeah, so mortgage boils down to the 3 C's. They call it the 3 C's. Credit,
3 C's.
Collateral, and capacity to repay.
Correct, yeah. And that is a 3 C's of mortgage lending, but also since I'm a mortgage broker, you can probably, you don't need all 3 with me. You could probably get away with 1 or 2. But again, it's not like in 2005 or 6 to where anybody gets a loan. You have to, if you've got a little bit of challenge credit or something really weird about your situation, you got to put a hefty down payment down as well. So that's why you've got foreclosures super low right now. And when you think rates are getting higher, people are still paying their mortgages.
Yeah.
Because they put some money down. So that's a good thing.
30 seconds on renters. What should renters be thinking about?
If you're paying more than $1,600-$1,700 a month, you definitely want to talk about especially in your team to try to buy maybe a condo or something like that. There's a lot of different things about that, but you can get a pretty decent condo. What is it now? Like $175,000, right?
Yeah. Just depending on area, price points, etc. Yeah, townhome, condo, villa, duplex. I love the idea of buying a duplex. Now you become the landlord, right?
Right.
So think about that, flipping from a renter, buying a duplex. Now you're renting out one side.
And on an FHA loan, you can put as little as 3.5% down and actually have some income, earn income as well in that 2-bedroom, like you said, on that 2-duplex.
I love that.
Unit.
Good stuff. How do you want people to find you online, bud?
Yes, it's my cell number available on the weekends, 813-300-7218, 813-300-7218.
All right, good stuff. Hey, another great show. I want to thank Representative Bernie Jacques and, of course, Robert Paredes, Fluxx Funding. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate,